This is a stimulus update and daily news report. There is so much going on. So the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed in the Senate yesterday. In order for it to completely pass, the human infrastructure bill needs to go alongside with it for it to pass in the House and in the Senate. Now, only 17 Republicans voted for this bipartisan infrastructure package. I'm going to play you a couple of video clips, one Republican for it, one Republican against it, despite former President Trump saying it was a terrible idea. I'm going to play you a video clip from Nancy Pelosi saying how President Biden cannot cancel student loan debt through executive order, despite what her colleagues Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren are saying that he can. So I'm going to play the video clip of her explaining more exactly what's going to happen with student loan forgiveness moving forward. Also, the White House was asked about additional stimulus checks, $1,400 checks because of the Delta variant. I'm going to play you the video clip of the White House response. Then I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a lovely day. If you appreciate the straight to the point, no fluff updates, hit the like button down below. So Moderna says it plans to expand COVID vaccine trial for kids age 5 to 11, and will seek FDA okay as early as year end. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Seems like more vaccine mandates are happening. Do you think that kids age 5 to 11 should get the vaccine? Let me know down in the comments below. Would you let your kids get the vaccine age 5 to 11? Let me know your thoughts on that. Good idea, bad idea. Next, let's talk about this. The unemployed Americans in line for more stimulus checks if Delta variant triggers mass COVID outbreak. So because the Delta variant surging, some are saying that there should be more stimulus checks for unemployment, as well as regular direct payment $1,400 stimulus checks. So I played this video clip later on in a video I did a couple of days ago. So I want to play this in the early part of the video so you understand how the White House responded to this. So when the White House was asked about more stimulus because of the Delta variant, here is the White House response to that.
Issue, with people talking about COVID and what some of the impacts of this new surge that we're seeing are going to be. There might be some economic impacts. We've seen some Wall Street banks bring down their forecast for what GDP growth is going to look like for this year. If that continues to be an issue, would the White House consider more stimulus of the type that we saw earlier this year, $1,400 checks, et cetera?
Well, I think an important piece to note for all of you is that the way the American Rescue Plan was designed was for it to have lasting effects that would go over the series of several months, far beyond the initial months of implementation. So there are components of the American Rescue Plan that are still being implemented that will still be implemented for months to come. That's a lesson we've learned from the past about how people will need assistance for a longer period of time than just a short window. I'd also note that there are areas, we've seen obviously data on the housing market, right, where there are there's an impact, an economic impact is on people being able to stay in rental properties or in their homes. There are areas of continued implementation. I think you're familiar with these, but I'll just note them, including on the forbearance program that we have implemented in recent months, where people will be able to apply. I'm just using this as an example because I think housing and being able to stay in your house is a big impact of the economy. People can still apply through the end of September and still benefit from forbearance for 6 months following, and then even longer. So point is, there are a number of programs, the child tax credit, which, as you know, we started implementing in monthly checks, but there's still going to be a benefit through to next year, that are part of the American Rescue Plan that we will continue to implement. I would also say that when it comes to the economy, there's no significant signs, according to our economists at this point, that the Delta variant impact across the country. We'd expect that much of any economic impact would be felt in the communities with lower vaccination rates. That's why we're doubling down on our efforts to ensure we're reaching Americans with the vaccine where they are. And that's one of the notes that I think our Secretary of Commerce made last week as well. One of the biggest, most important steps people can take is to get vaccinated.
One very quick.
Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, completely blew past that answer, did not answer directly at all. So it doesn't mean that there's still a definite yes or definite no regarding a fourth stimulus check or more stimulus. But with the Delta variant surging, there could be some possibility that it could come sooner, maybe recurring, maybe one time. I'll keep you updated on that. Also, IRS continues unemployment compensation adjustments and prepares another 1.5 million refunds sent out this week. So it was sent out yesterday via direct deposit July July 28th, and then is going to start tomorrow, Friday, for paper checks to be mailed out. So it could come 1 to 2 weeks from tomorrow if you're expecting one of these checks. And the average price or average amount of one of these checks was around $1,600. Pretty good. So the IRS definitely is falling behind there, but at least they're sending the checks out now. The Fed holds rates near zero, says the economy has gotten better even with pandemic worries. So it looks like the reserve rates are going to be at 0% or near 0%. And with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, it cleared the Senate, at least in procedural vote, and it looks like there's going to be more talks, more debating, more negotiations, more amending and changing the bill, however it is as of now. And the bipartisan infrastructure bill clears Senate test vote as Trump slams terrible idea. So what former President Trump said is, it's hard to believe our Senate Republicans are dealing with radical left Democrats in making a so-called bipartisan bill on infrastructure with our negotiators headed up by super rhino Mitt Romney. Rhino means Republican in name only. It's an insult. Also, Dino is Democrat in name only, so it's an insult to either Democrat or Republican. This will be a victory for the Biden administration and Democrats and will be heavily used in the 2022 election. It is a loser for the USA, a terrible idea, and makes the Republicans look weak, foolish, and dumb. It shouldn't be done. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Do you agree with former President Trump? Disagree? Are his opinions and thoughts relevant in this situation? Personally, I'm an independent. I think everyone has a right to their opinion, but it looks like 17 Republicans passed this infrastructure bill in the Senate. They only needed 10 Republicans to get the 60 votes, but they got 17. I'm going to play a video clip of one Republican who was for it, one Republican who was against it. Here is a Republican who was for this infrastructure bill. Then I'll play you the clip of a Republican against it.
Often confused.
Yeah. Hey, thank you all. I'm going to briefly give 3 human stories, a little bit of a background. Every now and then you get a little wind in your sails. When Portman and Sinema both did great jobs, but we made the decision to talk about it in Republican lunch. And Rob spoke about it, and Kevin Kramer sat in the back, and I wasn't really sure where Kevin was going to be. And Kevin said, "What's not to like?" I thought, whoa, we got something here. Secondly, when the Problem Solvers Caucus, because we've got to have a 2-chamber strategy. And we're speaking to senators, we need that House. And the Problem Solvers Caucus, 28 Rs, 28 Ds, came out and voted for the package that we would come through with. That was another wind in the sails. And the last human story, we're talking about roads, we're talking about process, and about, man, isn't it great that the Senate's working? But what's really great is that family at home where that pipe fitter is going to have a job, that construction worker is going to have a job, that person who just organizes things, she's going to have a better job, and there's going to be tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs created, and their commutes will be better, their homes will be more secure, they'll be weatherized, and I could go down the list. The ultimate human story is about the American people, and they are the ones who've really won from this. Thanks.
Republican Senator Bill Cassidy seems really excited about the passing of it, the wind in the sails, really happy, smiling, excited, all giddy, which I guess is good. Things are moving forward finally, but not all Republicans are on board with this. The bill text still has not been presented. Next up, I'm going to share with you a video clip from Joni Ernst, Republican from Iowa, saying why she did not vote for this package.
Making moves on infrastructure after weeks of back and forth, senators agreeing to a $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package, which includes $550 billion in new spending. Here's some of what we know. $110 billion to roads and bridges, $73 billion electric grid updates, $65 billion for broadband expansion. The vote came in at 67 to 32, but Democrats are already threatening to squash that bill without the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. We heard that from Joe Biden even. At one point, he walked it back. Then we heard it from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi repeatedly. Joining me now, Iowa Senator and Armed Forces Committee member Joni Ernst. Also joining the conversation all morning long, Mark Tepper and Joseph Pinion. Senator, you voted against this, did you not?
Yes, I did. And I haven't seen the text of the bill yet. And so for me to decide whether it's the right move for Iowans or not, I really need to see what's in the bill and the impact it will have to my great state of Iowa. No doubt about it, there's a lot of good things that will be in the bill. Infrastructure is really important to all Americans. But again, I need to see the text of the bill and make sure that the Democrats haven't slid any provisions in that would be unacceptable to Iowans. So let's review the bill first before we actually proceed on it.
It's Tim Scott. He also was a no on this, along with Rick Scott and Ted Cruz. Tim Scott put this out on Twitter about 12 hours ago. He voted no a week ago because there was no legislative text. My mind hasn't changed. There's still no legislative text or explanation on how to pay for the $1 trillion infrastructure plan.
So the next steps moving forward is we need this bill to be completely finalized, and I guess it would help if they share the bill text with Congress as well as the public, so we make sure that there has been no sneaky things in it, especially with the backdoor money and people getting kickbacks in Congress. You know how that goes. But we would love to see the bill before it actually officially gets voted in, especially with that much money. Moving on, Nancy Pelosi says Biden does not have the power to cancel student loan debt. So over the past few months, many months in general, I played video clips of Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren saying how President Biden could cancel $50,000 in student loan debt with a flick of the pen through executive order. They've done tons of press conferences, and I've shared those clips with you. But now Nancy Pelosi is saying that it is impossible for President Biden to do this. I'm going to play a video clip of what she said about that.
Well, thank you for your question. It's so refreshing to get a question on substance and process, but not responding to whatever. Here's the thing. People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject than you ever want to know? Will you let me know? People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress. And I don't even like to call it forgiveness because that implies a transgression. It's not to be forgiven. Just freeing people from those obligations. So the question of who gets forgiven, to use the term of art that is out there, is a debate. Do we use whatever money there is for the broadest base of support of those with more people with even less debt or fewer people with more debt? That's a policy discussion. But the difference between the president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. Not everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
So what are your thoughts on this? Nancy Pelosi saying it can't be done by President Biden, has to be done by Congress. Meanwhile, Congress is doing nothing at the moment for student loan forgiveness, even though it was a promise made by President Biden on his campaign trail. I'm not sure what to think about that. So next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Donna Rodriguez asks, what about people who can't work? Where is our free health care? So yeah, I mentioned how people who got approved for unemployment get free health insurance for the rest of 2021. For people who can't work, unfortunately, there is no free health insurance, at least part of the stimulus programs. Tanya Jelks asks, why isn't McConnell fired? Well, he keeps getting voted in for 34, 36 years or something like that. So until people stop voting for him, he probably is going to remain in power forever, as long as he lives, at least. Jasmine Georges asks, can you explain more on how to apply for rental assistance and how long does it take to get the money or for them to review the application? So this is a tricky topic. So for example, Pamela Green here said, I applied March 6th in my state and still waiting as well. Applied for unemployment in April, still nothing. So yeah, this is the problem with a lot of people. They applied for rental assistance and they're on the wait list. So it is still available. you know, and you could apply for it, but the problem is the states are taking a really long time to send the money out. Out of the $45 billion for the entire country, I think only maybe $4 billion, maybe $5 billion at this point in rental money has been sent out. So less than 10% of the money has been sent out. So it is available, but unfortunately the states are just taking way too long. So I think it's still worth applying for, because that money has to be used for rental assistance eventually, as soon as they get to it. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To hopefully cheer you up a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I'm going to tell you something that you should really do. Like, if you make a mistake, learn by experience and make mistakes. And I see you in the next video. Hi guys. Monster ice bleeding. Don't say that. Hi guys. I wish them breathe and see I wish. I could. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time and for you being a part of the Wise Flies community. None of this could happen if it wasn't for you, so thank you so much. If you appreciate all the time, energy, and effort that went into making this update, hit the like button down below. And if you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click this link up here for my other channels, or this link for more stimulus updates. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.